Hello dear students, today we are going to discuss a very important topic in income tax, that is residential status of individuals. So why this topic is actually important? Before going into details that what this topic is for, we need to discuss why this topic is actually important. First, this topic is important because whichever course you are pursuing, whether that is BCom Pass, whether that is BCom Honors or a CA, CWA or CS course, in your income tax exam, you will definitely find a question on this residential status of individual. Now, on the second important thing, we will discuss it after maybe a minute or so. So before, let's start with the topic first. An individual can be categorized into basically three categories in residential status. Whether that person is actually a resident or a non-resident. That is the first threshold which we have to determine. Whether that individual is first a resident or a non-resident. If he becomes a non-resident, the matter finishes thereof. Now, if he becomes a resident, then whether that resident is an ROR or RNOR. ROR means resident and ordinarily resident, or resident but not ordinarily resident. So it is important to decide whether that individual is actually a resident and ordinarily resident, or a resident but not ordinarily resident, or non-resident. So now why it is important to determine in which category that individual will fall. It is important because the taxable income in the hands of individual will be based upon his residential status. For example, if a person qualifies as ROR, his worldwide income would be taxed in his hand in India. So whether he is earning that income in India or in Canada or in USA or in Australia, that income will be subject to tax in India. But on the other hand, for example, if he becomes a non-resident, then only India source income, the income which he has either earned in India or received in India, that will only be taxed in India. So that is the second reason why this topic is actually so important. So let's move ahead and discuss how we can categorize an individual, whether that individual is a resident or a non-resident, our first threshold. So in order to decide that first threshold, we have two basic conditions which we have to look at. First basic condition is stay in India during the current financial year for a period of 182 days or more in India. So if a person stays in India for 182 days or more in a financial year, then that person will be meeting the first basic condition. For example, let's look at the financial year 1st of April 2020 till 31st of March 2021. So in this financial year, if that individual stays for 182 days in India, then he will satisfy or meet the first basic condition. Agreed? Understood? I hope it is clear. Now let's move to the second basic condition. Second basic condition is that, let's suppose he does not stays in India for 182 days. He stays for a lesser period. So in that case, there is a second basic condition for a stay in India of 60 days plus 365 days in 4 years preceding the current financial year. So he is staying in this financial year for a period of 60 days, but in 4 prior previous years, he is staying a cumulative stay of 365 days. So if he satisfies either of these two conditions, first condition of 182 days in the current financial year, or if he satisfies the second condition that he is staying in current financial year for 60 days and in preceding 4 years his total stay is 365 days. So either of these two conditions are satisfied, then that person will qualify as resident. If he does not satisfy either of these two conditions, that person will qualify as non-resident. If he qualifies as non-resident, matter finishes thereof. If he qualifies as resident, if he satisfies either of these two conditions, then we have to determine whether that individual is actually an ROR or an RNOR. So before moving to the concept of ROR and RNOR, there are a couple of exceptions. Exceptions wherein only you have to meet the first condition. that means second condition is not applicable. So if you satisfy the first condition, then only you are resident, otherwise you would become a non-resident. So the first condition is 182 days or more in previous year. In that case, for those exceptions, we will not look at the second condition. So what are those exceptions? First exception, with an Indian citizen who goes out of India for a purpose of employment outside India. So I am an Indian citizen and I go out to Canada, for example, for an employment during the year. So for me, I have to only look at 182 days condition, not the 60 days condition. Okay. So if I stay in India for 182 days or more in India, then I will be a resident, otherwise I will be a non-resident. So if I go on employment outside India, or I'm an Indian citizen and I'm a member of a crew of an Indian ship. Obviously, ship is moving in outside India, that is traveling, they are transporting goods and passengers. So if I'm a member of crew of an Indian ship, then also my second basic condition I need not to look at. I have to only satisfy the first basic condition. So we have looked at first exception, that is either I'm going on an employment outside India or I'm a member of crew of an Indian ship who goes out of India. For that purpose, we have to only look at the first basic condition. Now let's look at the second exception. Second exception says if I'm an Indian citizen or a person of Indian origin, Indian citizen or a person of Indian origin. Person of Indian origin means that my parents or my grandparents have born in undivided India. So then I would be a person of Indian origin. So Indian citizen or a person of Indian origin who is based out of India, maybe in some employment, business, profession or vacation. He comes to India during the previous year for a stay, maybe for a vacation, for a travel, for attending any marriage of any relative. So he is actually based out of India, but he's only coming for a short visit to India. In that also case, we don't look at the second basic condition. We have to only look at the first basic condition. That is, in these exceptions, we have to only look whether that person, that individual is actually staying in India for 182 days or more in the current financial year. If he is staying for 182 days or more, he is resident. If he is not staying for 182 days, he will be a non-resident. Now, before actually telling you how to determine whether that individual is actually an ROR or an RNOR, there are 4 important points which we need to understand. So, when you have to determine 182 days, it has to be the days, number of days that you have to calculate that person has stayed in India. The date of arrival or the date of departure from India will be counted as stay in India. So you have to actually calculate the days in particular months which he has stayed in India. So for that, the date of arrival into India or the date of departure from India, both these days will be counted as stay in India. Second thing, residential status is entirely based upon the number of days stay in India. It doesn't have to do anything with your citizenship, your place of birth, your domicile. It only looks at the number of days the individual has actually stayed in India. Now, the third important point. The third important point is that stay should not be continuous. It's my wish, I want to go out of India 10 times during the year, maybe 20 times during the year. I can come and go, come and go. So the total period has to be taken while I have stayed in India. It doesn't require that for a period of 60 days or 182 days, I have to continuously stay in India. I hope I'm clear. Now look at another important point. The fourth important point is that stay in India will also be counted as you have stayed in India if you are staying on the territorial waters of India. Territorial waters of India from the seashore, 12 nautical miles into the sea is considered as territorial waters of India. So you are staying on a ship which is within the territorial waters of India. You are not actually on land, but you are within that 12 nautical miles. You will be considered as stay in India. I hope I'm making sense and the topic is so far is clear to you all. Let's move ahead. So we have determined how that individual is actually a resident or a non-resident. Now we move ahead and determine whether that individual is ROR or an RNOR. So for that, an individual has to satisfy two additional conditions. If he satisfies both the additional conditions, then he would qualify as ROR. If he doesn't satisfy either of these conditions or one, if he satisfied any one condition or he does not satisfy any of those conditions, then he will be qualified as RNOR. I hope I am clear that these additional conditions has to be satisfied both. In the first thing, basic condition, we were looking at either of these two. Now in addition, we have to satisfy both the additional conditions. The first additional condition, that you have to be resident in India for 2 financial years out of the previous 10 financial years. So we are looking for a residential status of, so for example, financial year 2020-21. Then we have to look to previous 10 years. In previous 10 years, if I am a resident and satisfying either of these two conditions in 2 of any previous 10 years, then I will be satisfying my first additional condition. I hope it is clear that we have to satisfy either of these two basic conditions in any 2 previous years out of the preceding 10 financial years. Clear? Now the second condition. The second additional condition is that if I have stayed for 730 days or more in previous 7 financial years, then I would be satisfying this second additional condition. So let us just repeat those additional conditions. So in order to determine whether I am an ROR or whether I am an RNOR, I need to satisfy both the additional conditions. First, I have to be resident for 2 years out of the previous 10 years. Condition, resident for 2 years in the previous 10 financial years. Or secondly, as well, I have to stay in India for 730 days or more in previous 7 years. I hope it is clear and you all are with me on this. So first we have to determine, let's just do a small recap of this topic. That individual can be either a resident or a non-resident. For resident, he has to satisfy either of these two basic conditions, whether 182 days in the financial year or 60 days in the financial year plus 365 days in the previous 4 financial years. If he satisfies any of these two, he will become a resident. If he doesn't satisfy any of these two conditions, he will qualify as non-resident. I hope it is clear. There are certain exceptions we discussed for a person who is going outside India, an Indian citizen who is going outside India for employment purpose, or a member of Indian ship or member of a crew of an Indian ship going outside India, or an Indian citizen or a person of Indian origin who is settled outside India, doing any business, profession, vacation outside India. He has come to India for a short stay. In that case, only the first basic condition that we need to look at. We have to ignore the second basic condition. Now, for whether that resident, now if a person is resident, we have to determine whether that resident is ROR or RNOR. In order to determine whether that individual is ROR, we have to look at these two additional conditions. First, resident in 2 financial years out of 10 previous 10 financial years. I have to satisfy either of these two basic conditions in previous. Look at previous 10 years and check whether I am satisfying these two basic conditions in any of those 2 years. 2 years for past 10 years, then yes, I have satisfied the first additional condition. Second additional condition, in previous 7 years, whether my total stay in India has crossed 730 days or not. If I have satisfied these two additional conditions, then I would qualify as resident and ordinarily resident. If I satisfied only one condition or I do not qualify any of these two conditions, then I would qualify as resident but not ordinarily resident. I hope I'm clear. We'll see you again for another topic. Thank you.